Alright, lovely sway bar, rear sway bar, my wife's 2008 GT500, replacing the rear sway bar bushings. Yeah, my lovely setup over here. Never mind the mess. Old and busted. I already have that one off. The old hot dog down the hallway sway bar bushing, and all right, and this is the new polyurethane bushing. Energy suspension. It was a bitch to get it on there, but it's on. I'm gonna clean up some of that grease eventually, but yay. Yeah, halfway done. Oh, and yeah, my lovely wood cribbing. Yeah, Alcoa's Shelby. Can I say? She's styling. I'm not. It's just some gray GT over there. Anyway, so old bushing. The stabilizer link. This is the one on the bar side. Old and busted. I had to cut one end off so I could take it off. But yeah, nice and soft. Worn, 77,000 miles on it. New energy suspension. That's the kit I'm using. 24mm bar in the back. I guess some of these cars had 22, some had 24. Whatever. Also, another thing waiting to go on. The Prothane rear differential. The upper bushing. That's going to be fun too. Can't wait to get that done. But the 24mm, it says 8384 or something like that on it. Yeah, from energy suspension. 24mm bar, like I said, and good luck to me squeezing that. It's hard as hell. Polyurethane. It's got the nice grease grooves on the inside, and there's the stabilizer link with that old bushing removed. And like I said, just cut off one side, and then it slides right out. Unlike the fun I'm gonna have putting that on, which doesn't have almost any give. So they're nice once they're on, but they're a little bit of a pain to install. Makes you wish you bought the whole stabilizer link with the bar, so you just have, 6 bolts and done. That would be like a 10-minute job, but no, this is a few hours, at least for me so far. So, and the other side of the sway bar. One side still done. Yes, all kinds of projects. New stereo, woofer, amplifier, and some other things. Yes, my workbench is a mess still. I'll get to it. So, I was told a great way to do this, a good way to do this, one way to do this, is to lube, tons of lube, obviously, and get it started onto the bar, which is actually, now it's moving. It's not hard to get it on there because there's no pressure from the outside squeezing the heck out of that polyurethane now, so it makes the hole smaller. So it's on a little more than halfway. I got the small end of the stabilizer link already pressed on using my vise, of all things, and of course the metal insert is in there. So now this fun part, that needs to go on there. Through sheer manpower, somehow I have to squeeze this really hard polyurethane material to get it through that hole and out the other side so that it can go there, so that it can be, you know, stabilize the link again. Right now it's just a bushing on a bar. So I'm back, but that little project of getting the bushing on a little bit and then trying to get the thing onto it is really not going to work. That bushing is way too hard. There's no possible way. I am not, you know, The Rock or Hulk Hogan or somebody to be able to push this manually onto there. Maybe I'm just not feeling good. Maybe I'm just weak this morning. I don't have my Wheaties or whatever. But that ain't going on there by me just by hand pushing that on. So why is the link now wearing a clamp? Well, this is my way of getting that hard material onto into the link loop. Trying to do it without the clamp on there. Every time I would try to, you know, I'm using my vise as a press, but every time I would do it, it would go sideways. Like, well, that allows me, I'm actually going to loosen it up a little bit. I put it on so I could do it just all with one hand. That allows me, that's how I did the other side, and that's how I did the other, both links on that end. Allows me to use the vise. I use a piece of metal that I probably should cut down to size, but for now, this is the way I'm doing it. So I put it in so it's got more width to cover most of the bushing. Otherwise the vise is too narrow and it might damage the bushing. So nice and flat material. I put it on there. My vise probably came with the flat, I don't know, some other stuff. I don't know where I put it. So anyway, I put it on, and using a little bit of pressure, you know, controlling it with the other hand, I end up pressing that on there, and it goes all the way through. And then the fun part of getting all that back onto the bar. So when it's all set up in the vise, that's what it ends up looking like. Metal pushing should be just about level, and then I start slowly getting it in there, and hopefully it goes by with one hand. Sometimes I've had to control it. Nope, it's going to swing sideways. So anyway, this is what it looks like all set up in the vise. I started doing it with one hand, and my clamp is going sideways and the bushing is going the other way, so I'm going to have to redo it and get it done, but I need both hands for that, and I don't have a good holder for my phone, so I'm going to have to put it down and restart when it's at least somewhat in. So it's going. The piece of metal that I was using was too long. I was really fighting leverage. I was fighting all kinds of stuff, so I cut a piece off of it. I don't have time to weld to make a L-shaped whatever spacer, so I just kind of duct taped a piece of sheet metal on there so that it's nice and flat against the bushing. This is now started, and it's actually the edge is already into the bushing, so as I tighten it now, as I press it, it goes in and it's being pressed into the bushing, into the link, stabilizer link. So now if I take it out, it's in. It's not fully out on the other side. Obviously the clamp is now in the way, so I will be taking that clamp off. And see if I can push it in the rest of the way. Yeah, not happening. So my other way of doing it pound it till it's in, right? So it's in. Now the fun part, spread that lube again all over the place. The fun part will once again be getting this lovely, lovely bushing onto the bar. Getting that on there, which all of a sudden that 24mm inner diameter feels like a 22 when it's trying to go into this 24mm bar. So that's the next step. Alright, well, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, I'm breathing a little hard because I just did that. It's on. I just have to make it go down the shaft and end up in its home, which is going to be here. Same as the other side. And then the easy part, getting that new sway bar bushing itself, this thing, to go on here, which, as you can see, it's a little loose now because I actually got rid of some metal on here to be able to actually get this on. So I ground it down a bit, probably took maybe 1 millimeter off total to be able to get this thing back on, to get this thing on, I should say. But it's on, it's tight, and when this goes on, it's going to be past the area that I took metal off of. It's going to end up sitting over here, just like the other end, which also has a little bit of metal missing. And I will touch that up with some paint before I put it back on the car, because I don't like rust. Even though the car's 2008, there is some rust under there, but really not that much. So it doesn't make it working on it nearly as much fun as it was on our 03 car that we just had. That was a winter beater. Well, it wasn't a beater, I should say. Car was great. It was an 03 Subaru. 216,000 miles. We finally got rid of it. Finally traded it in for a lovely new wagon. All-wheel drive, manual transmission. Crazy thing. Could still buy one new. So anyway, putting that aside, it's on. Sway bar bushing, energy suspension, the 4.95G part number. They're black. The R instead of the G would make it red. There's nothing red under this car, so we went with black. It's got some Steeda components on there for now. Eventually all that stuff's going to come off. Eventually we'll replace by BMR stuff, just like it's all the BMR stuff that's under my GT. But for now it's not in the budget, so this is what it's getting. Bushings. So yeah, I wanted to show you guys that it's on. Once I got it on enough that it would actually stay on without popping off immediately, got it on so it goes on about 1/2 inch, maybe a little more. My lovely, still some grease on the bottom, on the end that I used, sledgehammer, couple of thwacks, and it went on there. So final set of shots of the sway bar before it goes into the car. It is on. It is tight. The bar, the stabilizer link is moving a little bit inside that energy suspension bushing. I'm not happy with the way it looks like that, but it slid around a little bit. I may try to center it a little better before I actually put it in the car. The other end that was a little loose in the previous shot that I showed you is nice and tight now. I can barely twist it without getting slimy, but it's not wobbly. It's nice and tight. That end I cleaned off. Sorry, there goes the picture shot. Yep, it ain't loose. It's nice and tight on there. So I cleaned off the ends. I'm just going to shoot some Rust-Oleum on there, and it should keep it. I actually have some rust reformer that I may actually end up putting on there to keep rust from forming. even though you're supposed to put it on rust. Anyway, I'm going to put some black paint on there and to make it look pretty again on both ends. Because like I said, I had to do the other end as well. Ignore the foam stuff. I had a water leak in here at some point and I had to do something about it, and that was my makeshift fix until I actually fixed the door so no more water gets in. But anyway, this has been a hell of a project. If you can afford the complete bar with the links pre-attached, do it. Otherwise, this is a pain in the butt. It's a GT500, even a regular GT, they deserve the complete bar. Just do the whole thing. It's like $200 for a Boss 302 rear bar, 25 millimeter. But anyway, yep, done with this. Gonna get it in the car. Next project will be that upper differential bushing. Thanks for watching.